I'd wear a dress. I would finally get to, ooh, new sheriff in town. You know, I don't know. I think, God, I was not expecting that question. I think by and large, she and Mal were cut from a very similar cloth, so I don't think things would change too much. But you know, when there's a woman at the helm, anything's possible.
Having a big glorious job now, was there any like horrible jobs you had before acting that were fun to talk about?
I've never had a horrible job. Thank God. I wasn't digging ditches or cleaning. Well, I was a manager in a restaurant, and I did have to make sure that the stalls were tidy. But there was a period in my life where I just kind of worked. I was working 2 jobs, and so I was a receptionist in the morning from 9 to 4-ish. And then I would take a break. I'd usually go to the theater or go to a movie, pack my lunch, go to a movie, and then manage a restaurant from 6 at night to 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I'd get home, and so after I was done, you know, doing the managerial work, it was usually about 4, I'd go home, and just as I would go down, the sun would be coming up in my window, and I'd have to kind of start it all over again. So I did that for a few months. Yeah.
I'm going to pick a question in the back, right over there with the orange wristband.
Is she here today? Oh, I've never seen Michelle. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, okay, yes. Thank you for telling me. Yes, I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask you about another black woman who plays a strong female character on Sci-Fi. If you were excited to meet her, or if you were going to get to meet her, or...
I think I just answered your question. Yes, absolutely. I have great love for Michelle. She was amazing. She's a goddess. I mean, just her bearing, right? Her intelligence, her grace, she was impeccable. Just impeccable, yeah. So I'm absolutely looking forward to, you know, kneeling down. Saying thank you.
Combat training. Can you describe what you had to do to prepare for?
A lot. But you know, as like I said, I've been doing that sort of thing for quite some time. I'd done it with Hercules. I went through, you know, my Kung Foolishness training. So by the time I got, yes, Kung Foolishness. So by the time we got to Serenity, I had, you know, done my 3 years on Hercules and Cleopatra, done wire work on that. Had trained with the stunt team from both countries, U.S. stunt teams and Chinese stunt teams on Matrix, just cause. I wanted that good to happen. So I'm like, what's she doing in the gym? Don't worry about it. So trained with those guys. So by the time I got to Serenity, at the risk of sounding obnoxious, it was easy. I honestly didn't have as much to do as Summer or Nathan, but I remember because I knew Chad, who was the stunt coordinator on Serenity, is also and had been Keanu's stunt double for years. So I knew Chad, and Chad knew me. And he was training everybody else who hadn't had such extensive training. And I remember on the day that we shot that huge, he was like, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. And it's choreography. It's just, once it's in your body, it's in your body. So on the day that we shot that, the morning before, like we're gonna shoot it in the afternoon, and that morning, he says, all right, come. I'm like, okay. And he throws, he says, this is what we're gonna do, and he lines up 7 stunt guys, because this is what we're gonna do. And he goes through it once, and I go, okay. All right. Okay. Got it. He says, all right, let's go through it. I said, okay. And so we did it, and we went through it a couple of different times, because that's just how my brain was functioning, because it was, you know, it was a very familiar language. And then we went and we showed it to Joss, and he went, oh. Can we give her 2 guys? Come on! I'm so good at this! But I got it, because if I had taken out all of those, then, you know, it would make the actual thing, Summer's moment, less momentous. But it's fun. It's fun to be able to challenge yourself physically in that way. You know, you need a tremendous amount of focus because you're dealing with things that hurt when they make contact. You have to be very conscious of the space. You have to be conscious of the cameras that are around you. So I enjoyed it tremendously while it was happening. Yeah.
One quick question. You mentioned the Batman mask and all about the lips.
Yes.
You didn't tell us who the reigning champion is.
Oh. You know, I have to say, Val Kilmer did all right, but Michael Keaton. That mask. There was something about that little overbite and the crossbow lips just under the, that just worked. Right? George Clooney was a hot mess. That there was no upper lip. There was nothing. I was like wrong. For someone who's just good looking out of that mask. And then I would say Christian comes in at a good second. Yeah. So that's. I know, I have a thing.
Dark blue with orange pullover.
Hi.
Yes.
I grew up with you at Cleopatra 2525.
You did.
I did. And just recently, I just found out you sang the theme song, and I was like, oh my god.
I didn't sing that theme
That's
song.
wicked.
You've been lied to. I did not sing the theme song. No, I'm sorry. I could. I could have.
I know.
Sing it out.
Cleopatra, this one is
You were saying earlier that you grew up loving musicals and there was like the iconic stars that you kind of looked up to, but was there anyone in particular that kind of got you wanting to be an actor and was that person that you wanted to be growing up?
Wanted to be. I love, and to this day I was watching one of her movies last night, Betty Davis. There's Betty Davis, there's Katharine Hepburn, but later.
Yeah.
Like Lion in Winter, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I love, speaking of Maine, why can't I remember?
Rosalind Russell.
Rosalind Russell. Eve Arden. See, I always thought of myself as Eve Arden. Eve Arden was tall. Eve Arden was like, she was the best friend. She was like the tall best friend who was beautiful and witty and had like the, if you ever watch Mildred Pierce, she is Mildred's best friend and she is fantastic. And for the younger people in the audience, she's the principal at Rydell High. That's who she grew up to be. So, you know, it's sort of just a combination of all of these women who I grew up watching, who are a combination of intelligence and wit and fearlessness. You know, Barbara Stanwyck is another one. God, double indemnity. What? They were just so, they were emotionally fearless and like I said, unapologetically in their female power. I love it.
All right, on that note, unfortunately, guys, I'm getting the wrap here. So give a cheer for Gina.
Every time.